It's Tim Paul from Around the Piano podcast. You know, before we get too deep into today's chaos, let me shout out the people who make all this sound way better than it probably should. It's 216 Creative Studios. Listen, if your podcast sounds like it was recorded in a wind tunnel, or your video looks like it was filmed on a flip phone from 2007, stop everything you're doing and call these folks. They've got mics so clean you'll hear every sip of coffee, every awkward pause, and every guest who forgets they're being recorded. So whether you're starting a new show, shooting content, or just need somewhere to feel creative without your cat walking across the keyboard, 216 Creative Studios, they've got your back. So quit trying to DIY your dreams on your couch. Get in the studio where the magic happens. That's 216 Creative Studios, where your ideas sound like you actually meant to say that.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another great episode of Around the Piano with Tim Paul. And hey, Cappuccino's at the table today. Do I do any music? Absolutely not. But I'm here just to make everybody else look good. Hey, listen, if you like what you see here today, don't be shy. Go to the old Google box at YouTube, 216 Creator Studios. Like, share, subscribe. Ding that bell for the feature notifications. We appreciate the support.
Wow.
Welcome.
Fantastic.
Welcome, Tim. The last time we were on a show together was a little while back, but we got some news coming up too, right?
We do. We got some great news coming up.
Yeah.
Exciting news. You know, the NAMM show up in January is coming very soon, and we're going to be there with our team. And we've got a lot of things we're going to be doing at the NAMM show this year.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of great
about
things. We have some highlights coming up too. We have Around the Piano news. Where you and I get to sit down and talk about follow-ups of things that we've actually talked about on the show,
exactly,
as well as what's coming up in the community and helping out great artists such as my man here, out there doing great things, doing the Lord's work if you must, no pun intended. And you know, listen, one of the things that I really want to talk about is the mashup real quick. So yep, we're doing it again.
Christmas show.
Yeah. We're doing the holiday show, the Christmas show.
Bigger and better.
I don't know what to say anymore. Do I say holiday show or the Christmas show? I don't know.
It's a mashup.
It's a mashup.
It's a mashup.
Between Let's Talk Local, we're out there hitting the streets. You and I and Deke hitting the streets, interviewing local small businesses and getting a 3-question in, including like, you know, what's your favorite Christmas song?
Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
We're trying to do an interview at the table here with Santa Claus. We're going to have kids interview Santa Claus this year and ask him all the hard questions, right?
We've got an inside track.
That's
to Santa.
Yeah, that's right.
That's right.
And also, we're going to bring in musicians. Hint.
Right. We do any?
And do some Christmas. We're going to do some Christmas songs, maybe some originals from some people, and we're going to blend it all together and make one great mashup holiday special, like we always do.
It's going to be fun. Be fun. And as soon as we get through with that, we're headed out to Anaheim.
Oh yeah. Yep.
So
then I can wear shorts again. That'll be great.
You can do that out there.
I know.
You can do that out there. In fact, you can do that out there right now. And Eric will tell us about that when we bring him on here in a second.
Well, let's introduce both guests. What do you got?
We got Mr. Craig Colson here in person.
Hello. How's everybody doing? Thanks for having me.
Honored.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
As well.
Craig is not only a wonderful musician, but he's actually a wonderful human being as well.
Oh,
you know,
thank
it's we've known each other now for quite a few years, and we have talked over many a piano.
That's true.
At the church.
This is round 2 with him too, right? We did education and music, I think.
Have you been on our? No, this first time on podcast.
No, with Eric.
Oh, with Eric?
With Eric.
Yeah, with Eric, it's definitely been the second time, third time.
Yeah.
So why don't we bring Eric on board here too?
Honored.
Eric Abel, director at NAMM out in Carlsbad, California.
Let me bow down.
Hey. Good to see you, Tim. Great to see you guys.
Yeah, it's good to see you too, Eric.
Good to be here.
So we're here today because this is part 2. We're talking about careers in music, and NAMM has been all about careers in music and making that more of a focal point recently about alternative careers in music, because it's more than just being a musician, and it's more than just teaching music. There are so many other careers that people just kind of bypass. And we've talked before how school counselors don't necessarily get that. But NAMM's got initiatives out there reaching out to school counselors and school teachers to let people know that there are more ways to make music other than, what's your day job,
Yeah.
We're doing that. And Craig is here to tell us his story a little bit. But first, Eric, what's new with NAMM since the last time we talked? What's coming up?
Well, spoiler alert, the NAMM show. The NAMM show, the week of the 22nd, 23rd, 24th, those are exhibit days, but that whole week, Tuesday, Wednesday, also several different paid summits, as well as a lot of free sessions on Wednesday that kind of prime the pump a little bit for Thursday, Friday, Saturday, which is jam-packed with professional development and, of course, thousands of instrument brands, support brands. Pro Audio is very strong this year. A lot of our international companies are coming back, despite some of the challenges that are happening in sort of the commercial space with tariffs and sort of uncertainty around that stuff. But we're really excited about this next show. So I'm happy to talk in depth about some of the programming that we have around careers in music, but that's a general boilerplate.
Yeah. Well, if there was one, because this is actually the 125th anniversary of the NAMM show, so it's a biggie. So if
you were there for the first one,
I was there for the very first one. Yeah.
Yeah.
You said it.
Well, hey, listen, tell a roll.
Yeah, I've gone through 5 CEOs at NAMM, and I was there with the very first one.
Right after the Ice Age.
Yeah.
But
Let it go.
what I was going to ask is, at some of the sessions coming on, I know AI is big, but I know the careers in music. What are maybe just a couple of highlights of a couple of the sessions that people can attend if they get to the show that are going to help them develop a career in music?
Yeah, I mean, you're talking about our track called Gen X, and that session, those tracks have been in place for quite some time, almost 10 years, I think now, in close collaboration with the College Music Society. So we did a request for proposals this year and opened the floodgates to anybody. Usually it was a sort of a requested. We would send out a request for topics that we were interested in, and friends and other partners that we have in the space. This year we opened it wide, and so we had just under 200 proposals. And the other thing that we did this year was we limited the space because we had 5 consecutive concurrent session rooms happening last year and the year before.
Wow.
And this caused a lot of angst for a lot of our attendees, college students and educators, thinking that they just couldn't see everything. And so that's not a great feeling. So what we're doing this year is you're probably all familiar with the Idea Center, which is a larger space at the NAMM show. So we consolidated everything into one room from 5. So that, of course, lowered the number of sessions that we have. We have about 38 sessions, and that's down from 84 in the past. So about half as many sessions, but they'll all be in the same room, this one large room over at the Hilton. Anyway, and our focus for both Gen X students and educators, college faculty, school counselors is the thing that we feel like we're the most experienced at, and that's careers in music. So I'm thrilled about the focus, of course. That's most of my portfolio is careers in music. So we have, all kinds. We have a music education leaders summit that kicks off on Wednesday morning. That's a whole day intensive for music education leadership. That's district, state level leaders, administrators, VAPA coordinators, that sort of thing, as well as some industry leaders in that space, as well as school counselors, which we've never really aggressively focused on. But after a few years of dealing or working with school counselors, I realized it's kind of the sweet spot. I mean, one school counselor.
It's key.
Oh yeah. Each school counselor sees about 400 students a year, and guess what they're talking about, right? So a third of their priority is post-secondary pathways, workforce pathways.
Sure.
A third is social emotional and that sort of thing, and then a third is academics, like how are you doing in school, kind of thing. So it's a big priority, and they have almost zero information about music careers, or they did. Now we're helping them. So some of the sessions that we have, we're highlighting emerging technologies in the workspace, evolving workforce needs, different models of collaboration between schools and businesses in the form of apprenticeships and those kind of things. Also collaborating with different sectors, like music educators collaborating with school counselors. So many areas of education are really siloed. And so, we're just encouraging these connections to happen. Our shared challenge is helping students translate music skills into meaningful, employable careers. And those of us fortunate enough to have music education in our background, we realize and we know that, like, by the time we're finished with high school, we've learned the bulk of our workforce development skills, our life skills. And then we go on to learn techniques and specialized skills to further our careers. But the bedrock really is music education. And so we're really promoting that this year. We have sessions on media scoring, music tech, of course, AI, and how that's affecting both the classroom for our educators, but also how it's opening up tremendous opportunities for students that are coming into the industry right now. This is probably something you all know, but it's said that by 2030, just 5 years from now, 50% of all job descriptions will change. Think about that. That's that's like the Industrial Revolution, and suddenly people are like riding in horseless buggies and steam powered manufacturing.
Said it.
That's not why I wanted to jump the gun on you there.
I think too, as a business coach, I can tell you, adapting to the new forms and having the education in order to learn how to adapt is key. When the computer first came out, my father was a printer for Commerce Clearinghouse, and it was a steel print, right? And then it turned to computers, and he's like, I'm not going to learn that because that's not going to last. And then the world changed.
Oops. Yeah.
And then people were like, oh, it's just taking over the jobs. Well, it's also creating jobs. Yeah. So it's about how you utilize what's happening to you. It's not what happens to you, it's what you do about it. In order to be able to move forward. And I love the fact that this is stuff that you guys are going to go over, and being able to teach that is huge, especially to educators to educate it downwards. I know that there's some programs out there that actually push for scholarship funds and stuff, not necessarily just in the music world, but in an educational world, just learning how to adapt to the surroundings that you're in anyway. Yeah. So is there something like that on the music side too, based on scholarship funds or anything moving forward into that space?
Well, I can't speak on scholarship funds. Usually that's really outside of my sphere of influence. At this point, we're really talking about information. And, we're sending out, and the good news is, at least for me, is it's a blue ocean. Like, there is so little information, as we talked about earlier, and as we all know, the culture is really the biggest challenge. the culture of our industry that says, you know, players are at the top of the pyramid, and then there are teachers and techs, and that's sort of the next rung, and then there's nothing, right? And so I think, you know, a student gets that impression very, very clearly from a very young age, especially if they go through school music programs. It's not intentional. No one's trying to sabotage anything. But my observation is that when everything is focused on performance, of course, and that's what it needs to be focused on. That's how you're measured. That's how you're assessed. That's how teachers are measured. But the byproduct of that is all of those students believe and understand that performers are the elite, and then the next group, and we all heard it. I heard it my whole life. You know, well, if you're good enough to perform, you know, you have a snowball's chance in hell to make it, but it's luck and all this stuff. And I just thought, God, that's not a very great prospect. And that's what parents are saying, and teachers are saying. So to come to that group and say, anything that you have a passion for in addition to music, there's a place for you in the industry. And we're eager for brand new, innovative ideas. We're eager for the boomers are leaving, and our industry is affected by that. Our industry had huge growth in the 70s, 60s, 70s, 80s. And all of those professionals, including myself, are looking at like what's next. And so you have an industry that's really seeking young blood. And I'm here to tell students, if you love this ensemble that you're playing with, if you love the relationships, you could be the fourth chair trumpet player. That doesn't mean you can't have a really productive and fulfilling life surrounded by music people.
Right.
Because I've had it, and you know we've had it, Tim, right? You know, whether I'm playing on a stage or I'm, you know, organizing a trade show or speaking to teachers or helping people with cymbals, or anything that I've ever done in this industry has felt just as meaningful as being up on a stage.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, it's all part of a journey.
Yeah.
I know Craig has had a journey. Tell us a little bit about your background a little bit, so people who don't know Craig Colson yet.
Yeah. So, hi everybody. Thanks for having me, everybody.
Yeah,
nice to meet some of you guys. And so I grew up actually in Arizona. I moved to. It's funny you were talking about your dad. My dad was actually an art director in New York City. And I was thinking about when you were talking, he's like, I remember the guys used to cut the tape. That's how they used to edit, you know, like the commercials and stuff. And it's funny how far we've come. But we moved, my mom hated the weather like we have here in Illinois. So we moved from New York to Arizona, and I played the drums. I was a drummer, started in like 3rd grade. And my mom actually encouraged me to play the drums, which I was kind of surprised. She's like, play the drums. The drums are the best. And I was like, you know what you're going to listen to? Like 17 hours a day? Okay. So I would play until we're both Sicilian, we figured out, until my Sicilian mother came in at 6 o'clock. That's it. I've had it. So I was playing the drums.
You're done.
You're done. That's it. You're done. Come eat pasta and get fatter. Yeah. But I started playing in church, grew up Catholic. I'm a cradle Catholic. And I know it's kind of funny because I'm a contemporary musician, and a lot of people don't associate that with the Catholic Church, but I've had a career for the last, I think it's been 33 years as a Catholic music director and composer. But I started playing in church in high school, and that's kind of how I learned to play other instruments. Was actually the maintenance guy at the church was one of our leaders for the youth group, and he had the keys to the church. So he would, after the youth group was over, some like budding musicians, he would let us into the church. Don't tell the music director. Right. He would let us in, and we would just grab. So I would start at the drums, and then somebody else, hey, can I play the drums? Yeah, I'd show them a beat or something, and then I'd learn how to play the bass a little bit and learn how to play some guitar. And that's how we all kind of learned how to play instruments. And then grew up, and it's kind of interesting to hear you talk about music education, because I wanted to go to music school when I was a drummer, and I was like, yeah, I'm going to be a drummer, and that's what I'm going to do. Because for me, it's like, well, you got to do what you love, right? And you love what you do.
Exactly.
You know, you got to love what you do. Yep. So it's like
sometimes
to have some, most of the time, you know, but something that you're passionate about, and then have that to be your job is a whole different world. You know, to me, it's like, it's not just you're put in this place. So I have to work in this restaurant and I hate dealing with people or something, you know, but we love music. So if you can make a career out of it, but when I went to music school, it was like, you're either a classical musician or you're a jazz musician. And I'm like, well, I'm neither, because I appreciate classical music and I can appreciate jazz music, but I'm kind of like, I grew up listening to Whitesnake and Europe and, Bon Jovi and locking myself, Rush, U2, locking myself in a room, playing the drums, learning all the things. It's like, well, where do I fit into this? And it was really kind of tricky. But I kind of found my niche in there. And I think what's made me be able to have a career out of it, also aside from my job in the church, because if anyone knows any church musicians, we're not driving around Porsches. And if we are, there's maybe something a little weird about
it's the side gigs on Saturday night.
It's the side gigs.
Yeah.
So like I've learned, like how to do recording and how to run a Pro Tools rig and, how to at least, sub in for a gig playing bass. I'm not a bass player, but, so I have other talents that I can use, if somebody needs a sound guy, immersing yourself in all of it so that you can kind of be, oh, well, this guy does, 4 things, and you make yourself a little more desirable in different areas, so that's kind of, like the guy over there.
I call that just Aldrin.
Our producer Aldrin is kind of a mini Craig in that respect.
For sure. Multi-talented. I love hate him.
I love hate him.
You're too kind.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah. So that for me, and then, with composing music, I mean, my wife and I actually sing and play and write music together. And we've had, we got some stuff in hymnals with Oregon Catholic Press in Oregon, and GIA, which is here in Chicago.
Yeah.
Used to be World Library Publications in, is it Schiller Park?
Schiller Park.
And they kind of closed down, and GIA bought all the music for them. So those are two the Catholic publishers that we've worked with. And, I mean, writing music is not, I would say, at least in the Catholic world, is not a really lucrative thing unless you really have something that really takes off and is in a hymnal. But that's not why I would say maybe most of us are doing
written that you're just kind of utilizing or manipulating a little bit as a musician, is it not?
No, this is new. This would be new composition.
Oh, is it new composition?
So sometimes like one of the songs we have, there's a hymn called "Oh God Beyond All Praising." It's the Jupiter, the Gustav Holst, that melody. So like we wrote a chorus to it, like a worship chorus that goes with it. So sometimes it's like a hymn that goes into a more modern worship kind of chorus. But these are songs that are in hymnals that they have in, almost every Catholic church, that are more contemporary pieces that are used in the church. So there's a lot of different musicians. And in Phoenix, I was really fortunate to grow up around, like, if anyone's heard of like Matt Maher, he's like big in the Christian world. He moved to Phoenix when he was 19. And so I've known him like a long time, and he had a great career with this great music. And now he's on tour with, David Crowder, I think right now, and Chris Tomlin and all these big musicians. And he's really made a great career. So some people really, he's also like a child prodigy. He's probably one of the most incredible. Aldrin shaking his head.
I was about to say, we just call that Aldrin.
Yeah, Aldrin, yeah. So, some people have made a career out of writing those worship, songs and that kind of thing too. And it's kind of weird because that's not why you're doing it. You're doing it to help people worship God.
Love it.
But there's also a part of it, well, you're also supporting your family as well. And it's all part of it.
Well, I love the words, your help, the word help, period.
Yeah.
Nobody ever puts a price tag on the word help. If you help 10, you get 20. And then you build legacy.
Yeah.
That's the ultimate paycheck.
Yeah.
How you help other people to get other people to help other people.
Sure.
And that pay is not moving forward, because at the end of your lifespan, you can't take all that money with you anyway, but you need it to survive.
Right.
My father used to say, money doesn't buy happiness, but it sure runs the hell out of it.
Yeah.
And it's totally true.
Yeah.
I love the fact that you've taken, so you and your wife both. So is that, do you have more of a band with the church, or is it just you and your wife? Or
so there's musicians at every church I've been. There's a lot of great musicians. Some have been, kind of more hired people on. Where I'm at now, it's everybody's a volunteer, and they're really good musicians, and they've kind of had a good music program for years.
They have.
Holy Apostles, where I'm at.
Great.
So I was really fortunate to walk into a kick butt sound system that, like, the guy who did the MTV Music Awards put in the sound
Yeah.
system. They're out of Orlando, Florida. And just some great musicians. So we have at every mass, we have drums, bass. I play mostly piano, a little guitar, sing. Aldrin's come and played with us a couple times.
Wow.
And we have singers, and Kristen and I, my wife, sing at all the masses and do the music together. And then I have my side, what Tim was talking about, restaurant thing, which my wife was working at a job where she was in a doctor's office where it was like one of those, oh yeah, just answer phones and make appointments, which turned into insurance coding and locking people in like these chambers that you had to do. Like, yeah, I know your eyes. You're like, and she's like, this job's, a little crazy. So
Not
I was
that
like,
kind of show.
yeah. Well, it's like oxygen chambers.
Oh, yeah. Sure.
And,
Probably elaborate on that.
Yeah. So I was like, I could probably pick up another gig or two at a restaurant and you wouldn't have to worry about doing this. So the music scene around here is awesome.
It really is.
In
Yeah.
Phoenix, honestly, it was more corporate gigs, bigger stuff. You had to really kind of know people. There weren't really these restaurant things around here. It's like
Every restaurant's Friday,
It's a
Saturday night.
Midwest thing.
Yeah.
I
It is a
think the
Midwest
cafes,
thing.
the coffee house playing
Yeah.
and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. In Arizona, you rarely got to see anything
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah. So when I moved out here, I was like, wow, because we've been here 5 years. We moved here in the middle of the pandemic. That was interesting. August of 2020.
That's right. I recall that.
Yeah. But I was like, my gosh, every place has music, which is awesome. And there's a piano bar in Lake Geneva. I've been playing that a lot. It's a great place. And I just started Facebook Messenger.
Mhm.
I just started reaching out to restaurants and, hey, if you need somebody, here's a little promo video. Here's where I'm playing. Here's what I charge, kind of thing. And
Nice.
so it's been, yeah. So I played 100 gigs last year. Is what I
Wow.
counted. Yeah.
That's pretty good, man. I mean, there's obviously we got a QR on him. Aldrin, yeah. Let's pop that up there real quick. Hey, listen, if you want to get a hold of him for a gig, go ahead, pull out the old pocket computer, turn on the old camera there. It'll send you right to him. Don't be afraid to say that you want to get a free picture for him. I don't know. I'm just throwing things out there.
And Craig, we'll come to your house and play for you personally
Yes.
Yeah.
any night of the week. Just
In
not,
a duck suit. No, I'm just saying that now. I'm being silly. But yeah, no, listen, if you ever need marketing out there, let us know. We got you covered.
Thank you.
100%.
Appreciate
That's
it.
awesome.
Appreciate that.
Awesome.
what would you say is the toughest thing you've had to deal with forging a music career? What were the roadblocks that you ran into?
Yeah. So one of the tricky things in my job is how do I say this? The music in the Catholic Church is mostly, according to the documents of the church, is Gregorian chants. You know what I mean? So when you think Catholic Church, you think, you think like, chanting and that kind of thing.
Right.
Which and I've worked with some people that are just so skilled at that, and they really know how to do that and do that really well. But so it's you're kind of dependent on the priest, because if the priest comes and he wants everybody to chant, I'm kind of done. Don't tell anybody.
Right.
I'm kind of done.
Yeah.
So because I don't really do that. I can do some traditional music and that kind of thing, but so
You got the contemporary side.
yeah, it's more of the contemporary side. So some people really like that. And so that's kind of more the challenge. It's kind of like you're always kind of dependent on who's the new priest going to be and what kind of music is he going to like.
And 3 changes in a year.
And we've had three pastors in the last, So you kind of never know. So that's kind of like with some of my colleagues, it's like, if they're more contemporary or more on the traditional side, and then they come and the priest wants more contemporary music.
Right.
It's kind of like, unless you can adapt to that, you're probably going to need to look for another job. So that happened to me once in Phoenix where we were in like a multi-purpose hall. And this is actually if you followed any of the Charlie Kirk stuff, this is actually the church that Charlie Kirk goes to or went to with his wife. So that church was a multi-purpose hall, and the pastor came in one day and he's like, I have the plans for the new church. And I'm looking at it and I'm like, oh, there's a choir loft. And what's that? And big organ, a multi-million-dollar pipe organ.
Wow.
And I'm like, well, I don't play the organ. So I guess when that gets built,
That could change things.
so I kind of, then I had to just kind of put some feelers out and be like, okay, we got a couple years till this church is going to be built. I probably should start looking for a job because I don't play the pipe organ, So that's probably the biggest challenge is sometimes the unknowns, but
Right. Yeah. having to roll with the punches and adapt to changes that come along.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
And sometimes when you're, and I think this is anytime working with volunteers, sometimes you have some very well-meaning people who want to be a musician and they're not, or they want to be a singer and they're not. And so it's tricky. You have to be compassionate and guide them to maybe something they might be better at.
Right.
You know?
There's a seat for everyone.
Yeah.
Is what you're saying.
Yeah.
It's just, everybody, I want to be a singer too.
Yeah.
You don't want me to sing. Let's just put it that way, right? And so how do you break that news, right? And so somebody's so passionate about something. And I mean, listen, even in the career phase of anything that you do, if you're very passionate for it and you want to do it, you have to accept the hurdles that go with it.
Right.
And even in the education world, like with Eric, I was a chef. Ask me if I want to be a chef again. Nope. You know why? Because that was my passion, and it became a job.
Yeah.
And jobs aren't fun all the time.
Yep.
And therefore I wanted to keep my passion. Therefore I changed my career a little bit.
Yep.
Right. But there's also a seat there's so many different seats in the music world. I don't think people really realize that, right, Eric? I mean, digitally, is there a school in Florida like Tantera, I think it's called, where you get to learn all the back end stuff, the Mackie boards, the motherboards, and how to control sound just as much. So there's so many different phases. Eric, you got something you want to chime on that?
Yeah, I mean, if you're talking about my biggest challenge, just kind of in my whole career, has been this idea, getting around this idea that, like I said earlier, that there's a hierarchy. You're as a professional musician, that was as a kid. I'm not saying this is accurate, but this is kind of the culture and the narrative. Is if you're, a professional musician, whatever that means, that you're somewhere at the top. You can make a living playing music, and you have something called talent, and that's a whole other podcast. But you know what I mean? It's like, it's actually really hard work. It's not magic, and you're not like suddenly this magic technician. All that together is a big challenge, because if you don't fall into that place, or you don't see yourself in that place, you really think there's nothing there for you. And so one of the projects that I've done for Careers in Music is just researching school post-secondary opportunities, right? Of course, most people know, like, if I want to be a music teacher, I go to this university and get a music teaching degree, right? I learn all the pedagogy. I have my instrument, my primary instrument, and all the other. Or if I want to be a performer, I might pursue a performance degree. And that seems to be the two options most parents, school counselors, even music educators see as a path into music. So a kid says, I really want to make a living in music. And almost always the reaction is, well, you should have another job. You should have a fallback. You should, and I'm here to just say your fallback can be music too. And your fallback to your fallback can be music too.
Correct.
By the way. So to your question, sorry, I researched all these different opportunities, and that's community colleges, that's trade schools, that's private programs, internship programs that happen during the summer or all year long. And to my surprise, I found a couple hundred of these, and I have a list for each state and kind of what they offer aside from performance and education. Those pathways are pretty clear. So the answer is there are tons of ways for a student to make his or her way into a music career, or several, that don't involve a 4-year degree. There are tons of ways that involve, now, if you want to be in performance, you can get a degree in performance, but you can also learn from like your idols on YouTube. You can find a teacher and really just pursue that. But the other part of it is, of course, that's that can be a really challenging life. But not only because it's scarce and there's overpopulation of really great musicians, I think, but because it's a certain lifestyle. And if you don't ever think of that, for me, I was in my, I guess, mid-20s, late 20s, and I was playing in Los Angeles and teaching and starting to get tours and recording sessions. And I'm thinking, got it, man, this is awesome. I want to do this. And so then I got married and had a son and thought, uh-oh.
Right.
Everything I had worked on since 13 was performance. You couldn't have probably convinced me there was anything else, but no one even mentioned anything else. I didn't even know. So here I was at 26 going, I cannot leave this child behind. I mean, I'm not going to live away from this amazing person.
Yeah, priorities kind of shifted.
Yeah. And so suddenly, like, I'm not going to live in a suitcase. And all of my options were on the road. You know, it's like, you want to be a sideman, you got to travel all the time. Yeah. And so that one thing, the lifestyle thing, created a sort of a midlife crisis in my late 20s or so. And with that, you know, I quit music completely. I packed up my drums. I'm a drummer too, Craig. Packed up that. I quit the school. I was teaching at this school that was an experiment at the time, Musicians Institute. But I quit that job after 5 years because I needed insurance and I needed a steady job and all that stuff. And I started working high-end restaurants because guess what I had been doing as a performing musician? I've been a waiter, like every other actor in Los Angeles. And I hated it. It was soul crushing. I was just like, oh my gosh. I worked for a great restaurant, great people. They were awesome. But the work itself was like 6 a.m. to 2 in the morning, 6 days a week. And I thought, well, I might as well tour. If I'm going to be doing this, I don't see my kids anyway. Anyway, that led me to that dissatisfaction led me to working for Pisces Cymbals. Oh. And that was just like, I don't know what I'm going to do for you, but I'm a drummer. I have a suit. I have a car that runs. I can speak in complete sentences, mostly, you know. No, I mean, I'm just, you know, I walked in with a suit and, you know, Eric Pisces said, oh yeah, you're hired. Good. You'll do just fine. It's different now, but this was in the olden days.
Sure.
And so I discovered like this huge industry, and everybody that I met was just like me. They're, you know, just like us, you know. It's like, wait, no one told me that there were all these other ways to make a living,
right?
That didn't involve getting up on a stage or packing a suitcase or getting in front of a classroom. It just never even occurred to me. And then it was so obvious, it was painful, you know. So that's a really long-winded answer to the question.
No, that's a great. Well, we're all about stories here. That's
and I was
right.
As you're talking, I'm just thinking about some of the guys that I know, mostly in Phoenix, that are great drummers. Like, they're not touring as much anymore, but they're recording for people out of their house. So they've gotten really good with technology and recording and Dropboxing and Google Drive.
Yeah.
And, you know, so you send these guys, you know, a track or whatever, send them a click track, and they'll do a killer drum track for you. Because to find a good studio drummer is like a whole nother art. Like, that's like the bones of the recording. So if the drums aren't good, forget it. So like, you can say, I know 3 guys in Phoenix right now that have, one guy used to play with Glenn Campbell, Gary Brzezzi, played with Glenn Campbell for like 25 years.
Gary. Yeah.
You know Gary?
Brzezzi. I don't know him personally. I just know his playing. Yeah.
Oh, he's incredible. So he played at church with me in Arizona and plays with my buddy Chris now in Arizona. And I mean, send Gary a track, kills it, and you get this great drum track, and he just sends it to you. And so some of these guys, you know, they don't have to travel as much now because they can do that.
They can do it from home.
The guitar players as well, bass players, you know. So that's another way. You're right. I mean, no one ever told me that could be a thing. You know?
Well, you know, quick story for you. So even outside in performances, like my daughter, she was a theater kid.
Yeah.
and she wanted to be on stage. I want to be on stage, and she's got chops. She could talk about an apple for an hour, just like her old man. And so she get out there and she would act the parts out. She's a great actor. She, she had flaws just like anybody. And then, there was a little bit of letdown when she applied for some parts, and they were like, well, we can't have you as the main performer, but you can be the tree, or you could be right. And as time went on in different performances, she always wanted to be on stage. She always wanted to be on stage. And one day, parts were going out, and she chose not to be on stage. She chose to be stagehand or backstage.
Right.
And I asked her, and I said, why do you now listen, 14 years old? I'm like, why did you want to do that? And she's like, because I'll become more valuable to the production if I know how to do everything.
That's smart.
And so right off the bat, she realized in the back end, and she's like, plus, when I see people on stage, whatever their flaws are, I'm learning from their failure too. Which is brilliant, right?
Yeah.
So there's the education inside the education. I love the fact that Eric brought up YouTube. Listen, there's so much out there on YouTube. If you're a starving artist, and I don't know why everybody goes back to restaurants as a starving artist, but it seems to be the go-to, right?
Free food.
I was a waiter too. Like,
Yeah.
You get used to working for food.
Right.
Yeah. Cash and food.
But between even street performing and stuff like that, which in the Midwest is huge, in the summertime especially, you go downtown Chicago, you see them everywhere, and then they're making money, and then they get picked up by somebody and say, hey, we want you at our club, and so forth and so on. But there's YouTube channels that you can jump on literally your own YouTube channel and do your own thing. Now, I don't know if you guys ever see Reggie out there. He actually comes to NAMM. We met him a few times walking around NAMM, but he has a thing on YouTube called Sing With Me. And he's 1.8 million viewers.
Oh, wow.
And where people just walk up off the street and they get to pick a song, and he plays a guitar, and he's got a little soup can lid attached to it that makes a drum sound.
Really?
So he gets to play. He's fantastic.
Yeah, he's phenomenal.
He's phenomenal. And what he does for people is phenomenal. But you can do just about anything, and learning music off of YouTube just the same.
Yeah.
It's out there. What I love about music is it's a shared wealth.
Yeah.
Like, hey, I love how you did that riff. How do I do that?
Yeah.
And then somebody would be like, dude, let me show you how to do that.
Yeah.
Totally. And not everybody's just out to gouge you.
Yeah.
It's about the sharing of the knowledge of the talent or of the wealth of it.
Well, and there's also a piece of it to me. I used to say for years I was on a quest to organize musicians, because some musicians, God love them, are so scatterbrained and just all over the place, and they're showing up last minute, and they're like, or they're showing up late or whatever. So if you're a musician who can also be organized, who gets back to people, who texts people back, who calls people back, who can be a little bit of squeaky wheel, gets the grease, I mean, it's a whole different world. I guess it's like that in anything, any job. But what I've noticed is the people who are, disorganized, or they don't show up for a gig one night or something like that. I mean, it's like, good luck getting another gig.
Yeah. I mean, and I think the last time we had Eric on, we had Thomas Claxton on with him, and we actually talked to fill you in, is go out there and shake hands, put the phone down for a minute.
Yeah.
Go introduce yourself. In person is still a thing. When you talk to somebody, talk and stare at their eyes. Don't, I mean, today we're so used to the pocket computer that you can't, the things on the out, and that's okay too. But if you know how to merge both, you know how to organize, you're 100% correct. You will become something. If you want it that bad, you will learn how to do these steps. Any business, when I coach any business, it's the same thing. You got a beginning, a middle, and an end. How do those connect? What's the connective tissue? And what are your flaws? How do you look into a mirror, and how do you go, these are my flaws? And this is what I need to improve. So you have to be humble.
It's a big
it's a huge thing.
Well, even the guys, some of the places I play that have like a PA, and they change something, and then they leave and they don't plug it back in. Like, think about the next guy or gal who's coming in to play, and you just unhooked, the speakers, and they're like, then they don't know how to do it. So, I just always make sure I'm that guy. Like I plug everything back in. I make sure it's working, and I try and, clean up the area, just little things like that. Even
That's because you're a musician who thinks like an entrepreneur. And there's musicians out there that don't do that, but you have to, because
100%.
most musicians, they're working for themselves. So you have to do that organizational part and work as an entrepreneur in order to make things happen.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
For sure.
You're an entrepreneur that has music talent.
Yeah.
And most talent needs a manager, and
True.
then most
Yeah.
managers are out for themselves.
Yeah.
I'll say most, not all. I'm not going to generalize because I'm sure there's some really good managers. I don't want to anger anybody out there, but
Sure.
I've seen it,
Sure.
right? Where I'm like, why you're doing nothing and collecting the majority of this young man's whatever,
Right.
this young woman's.
Right.
Speaking of another career in music, you can be a tour manager.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, the topic, of independent contractor is just not always really emphasized as a young musician.
Mm.
I mean, the idea that you would be working for yourself, it never even really occurred to me until I was doing it. And then I'm thinking, oh yeah, there's accounting, there's promotion. And I'm talking about a sideman. I wasn't trying to be a star. I was just trying to get good gigs and go out on the road and work for a company for 3 months or whatever.
Mhm.
So it's about, because if you're a student that never wants to get on stage, that's sort of off the table for you, right? So like, oh my gosh, I love music. I love all these people. I'm happy being the fourth chair trumpet player. I'm happy being the person that fixes the music stands. I'm happy to be part of this group. The message is great. You can sit at a bench and not interact with a single human being all day long. Listen to your songs, be in your world, and fix guitars. You'd be the highest paid guy in the shop. It's like there's you can be an engineer. You can love writing and not want to get up on a stage and be a journalist. And there's plenty of jobs, marketing jobs and promotion jobs. And, so it's just expanding that definition of what a music career looks like. And, you're all living, breathing examples of that. An arts career is, whether you're a musician or not, you're running a studio, a production studio. And that's somebody in the music industry. I guarantee you, when you come, I keep referring back to the NAMM show, but when you come to the NAMM show, you could ask 100,000 people, are you in the music industry? And I don't care what job they're doing. If they're if they're not a guest, they'll say yes without hesitation. I'm in the music industry. Okay, what do you do? Oh, I'm an HR director for Yamaha. Or, oh yeah, I'm a marketing guy for Taylor. You never step on a stage, but you're in the music industry. And why that's exceptional is some of the things that we're talking about here.
Mm-hmm.
You learn as a musician, 95% is not good enough. It's not good. It sounds terrible. You learn, how to lead from behind. You don't have to be the section leader. You learn how to make decisions and then stick to them for months and months, tenacity. And we mentioned it early, on the cusp of this massive upheaval in workforce. I want people that are creative and adaptable, and can really, tenacious. That's the kind of people most employers want now, right? I don't know what the skills are going to be in 5 years, but I know I want what kind of person I want. And so the music industry is no different. That's who we want. That's who the industry wants. We want, so there are, so many really great jobs, and maybe you could pick 3 of them.
Yeah.
And
they're music. And I love where you're going with that. If you love music, but you're not as talented as you want to be in that, dedication and loyalty are the key factors on that resume. Because everything else can be taught. You can put the monkey with a razor blade to do the job, as long as that they're there to be part of that collective team and that connective tissue, which is massive, right?
Well, and as you were talking about your daughter too, I was thinking about, people who are writers. They're not even musicians, they're poets.
Right.
Good songwriting. I mean, that's
right.
a whole another thing. And people think, oh, it's, this artist that I love. Well, they probably didn't write the song.
Yeah,
I mean,
Storytelling.
the song,
Storytellers
storytellers,
are
all
huge,
those
yeah,
kind of
that's
things.
right.
Sound people. I mean, I don't care how good a musician you are. If you don't have a good sound tech,
Yeah.
your team,
Oh yeah.
stuff. But all
Yeah,
goes
I
in.
mean, I have a friend of a friend that works for the San Diego Philharmonic, and I was talking to him, and he said, "Yeah, for every person on the stage, there's about 100 people supporting.
That's right.
That's thousands of people." Because he's talking about the ushers, he's talking about the people that sell tickets, everybody that's part of that performance center. But one particular job really like inspired me. He said, we have the switchers, backstage. So they're switching these images. It's a huge, like think Hollywood Bowl. It's a massive performance center. So there's someone controlling the cameras, of course. There's cameramen, there's camera people, there's someone working the switcher. And then there's this other guy that's looking at the score and cueing the guy that's cueing, saying, okay, there's a trumpet solo coming up in 4 measures. Boom, he's right on it. And I'm thinking like, oh my gosh, I would have never, it's a great gig. The guy is making, 6 figures. And it's, that's his contribution. Don't try to tell that guy he's not in the music business because he's not playing with the symphony. He's part of that performance. It's the same thing when I played in pit orchestras in Hollywood, and you get a gig in the pit orchestra, you're buried way in the back in like a dungeon, but you're part of this performance. You feel it. You're part of the cast. At the cast party, they're like, "Oh, that was so good. You're so great." That, and everybody, all the people, like you said, your daughter behind the stage, that's part of this ensemble. And the message is like, yeah, you can actually make a living doing all these things. Yeah. And the other cool thing is that in this culture of music, playing music on the weekends or in the evenings is really an asset. It's not like your other job that's sort of your thing on the side. It's like, wow, what? You're still playing? That's fantastic. Oh my gosh. Because you're constantly learning, you're constantly pushing, because that's what we do as musicians. You're constantly trying to get better. So it's I know I feel like I'm a salesman, but I'm just so passionate about it because it changed my whole life. Meeting a 5th grade band director and playing with an ensemble changed the whole trajectory of my life. I was convinced I was dumb. I have dyslexia, ADHD before those even had names. And I just was convinced.
I'm thinking the same. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just thought it was dumb. I was just thought, I don't get that. I don't know why I don't get that. And suddenly I'm playing in a percussion section. I'm like, I get this.
Yeah. You're made to be ADD in a percussion section.
Oh my God.
Yes,
It was perfect,
Yeah.
And so it changed my life. Suddenly I was, going from being in the principal's office all the time and being pulled out in front of all my classmates to go into speech therapy. They didn't know what was wrong. He seems like a pretty good kid, but he can't do these things. I was just convinced, oh, well, I'm just dumb. And so, when I got that boost of confidence and learned how to sight read, which helped my dyslexia, all that stuff, I started making the honor roll. I mean, it's just like,
You had to learn how to learn.
that's right. That's right.
As well. And going to a Catholic school growing up.
Me too.
My mom told them the things that, and nobody did anything.
Yeah,
And
so-
all they did was like, hey, you're lazy.
Yeah.
Or so you start mindsetting yourself as I'm the dumb kid.
Yep.
Once I learned how to learn, I blew everybody out of the water, but that wasn't until after high school.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But now, and listen, I know we're on the back end. I keep getting signal over there from Aldrin. We're on the back end of this, but now it's in, Eric, I love the way you talk, man. It's mindset, no, you're a musician that pretends to be a waiter. You're not a waiter pretending to be a musician.
Yeah.
It's how you see things. If you see it, you become it. If you're the guy that says, I'll never be able to do this, then you won't.
Yeah.
If you say that I'm going to give this a try, then it's very possible that you will.
Yep.
It's a mindset. And you teaching the kids that today, that's one of the biggest lessons that could be learned is mindset. And, accountability and mindset are two things that aren't really taught.
Yeah.
With that needs to be taught. And we stem that from home. And I know that, the big thing with the music world is you come from a blue collar family. You are good at what you do instrumentally or vocally. And your mother and father are blue collar workers, and you're like, I'm gonna do music for a living, and they're like, no, you're not. You're gonna give that shit up, and you're gonna go get a real job. And so that used to be the struggle of the yesteryear, and maybe even until today. But now there's teachers like Eric and people like you that talk to parents and go, hey, listen, there's something here. And we need to support it.
Can I tell you my coolest moment this week? And I know we got to go.
Yep.
But it was since it's Veterans Day. Since it's Veterans Day today.
And real quick before you do that, hey, let's pop up that careers QR code real quick with NAM. And listen, go scan that QR code, and all great information in there. Regarding careers and music, and get a free ice cream from Eric. I don't know. I'm just showing that out there. Hopefully it helps people scan that QR code. Also, I think we have a QR code just for NAM. Is that correct there, Aldrin? And one of the favorite places for me to go nowadays, and as it's picking up every year since I've been there, I'm like, it's a crowd everywhere you go. You better squeeze through.
And we also would be remiss if we don't mention about how to build, brand, and grow your podcast session.
Absolutely. We'll be on stage. Thursday. Absolutely. Yep. Yeah. Yep. And if you see us walking through the crowd and you see a QR code on our shirt, make sure you scan that. Those are the people sponsoring us to go there to make all this happen as well. And if you want to sponsor that, where do they go?
They go right to what? Do we have that QR code? No. Or they can go to pt.216creatorstudios.com.
That's right.
What did we do before QR codes?
There are lots of QR codes going on there. It's very confusing.
Yeah.
All right. We're going to close out with a great story. Why don't you head us?
I was just going to say, I teach music at our school, our Catholic school, on Monday, one day a week. And since it's Veterans Day today, we have a Veterans Mass on Thursday, and we're learning a couple patriotic songs, which is wild because it's like the kids have never heard America the Beautiful.
Wow.
And it's like it was like a new song to them. So it was so cool because I got to show them. We learned it in class. I had them open their hymnals. We learned it, but then I showed them. I was teaching them just the Glory Hallelujah from the Battle Hymn of the Republic. So I thought, let me show them. And I showed them the National Army Band playing the Battle Hymn. And this is a whole orchestra. And I had the big smart board. And to watch these 4th and 5th graders, they were like mesmerized by all the instruments. And it was so cool. It was like the coolest. I went home and told my wife, I'm like, I had like a chill moment today just watching them watch, because they were like, the snare drum just started by itself. And that was the French horns. And it was cool. And I was like, guys, that like, if you ever wanted to do this, like you could go into the military, you could be a musician in the military.
Absolutely.
And they like had no idea. They were like, you could do that? I'm like, yeah. I mean, it's like, and I told them, John Angotti, who's another fellow composer of mine, he used to sing in the Navy band. I'm like, that's how he went through college and did this whole thing. So but like you're talking about, people don't know, they don't think about all these careers.
I would have never even, well, cool. I'll take a drumstick, not a gun.
In fact, on Eric's Facebook page today, he was highlighting and congratulating the Marines on their 250th anniversary with the Marine Band.
I mean, that's my background. So I was in the Marine Band and traveled all over Southeast Asia. And, it was like, wanting to give back in some way that made sense to me. Nothing like traveling around the world and playing. Well, in our case, we're playing a lot of pop music. There was a show band that we traveled all over the place. There was a big band, and we played all this American songbook stuff that was just amazing. And a really good wind ensemble. Yeah, I mean, all I did for 4 years was play and woodshed, and interact with locals, right? In this case, Japanese and Filipinos and Koreans and Chinese and Australians, and I mean, it's just like amazing. And still, when I talk to young students, they're like, "Wait, what? I can join the service?" And
Wait, you were a Marine and didn't have to go out on secret missions? You're like, no, I played in a band.
I played in a band.
I was the drummer.
Yeah. Yeah, it's always the drummer. You know, when you see the films of the battle scenes, you hear music. That's us. We're right behind the foxholes.
What was that one movie where they were playing on the side of a battle? What
Funny story. It was the 50th anniversary of Iwo Jima, and I was stationed there, and they flew us out in this transport plane, and they did a reenactment of the invasion, like these old transports coming up on the beach, and then they had like fake charges blowing up everywhere. And they had this pathway. They said, don't go off this path because you'll step right on top of a fake charge and you can hurt your foot really bad. So we're out there, we're playing all this Marines hymn and, you know, all these patriotic songs as the things are coming on it's like we're out in the middle of the battle, and machine gun sounds and big explosions are happening. Talk about bizarre. It was so awesome.
Hazard pay for that one, right?
That's awesome.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Thank you for your service.
Yeah, thank you for your service. Thanks guys for joining the show.
Awesome.
Every time.
Thank
You know,
man. I mean, whatever you can
I'm
get
telling
with
you,
Tim,
you know, I won't give him that much credit. His
Yeah,
head
he definitely
swells.
does. Yeah. I can get a bigger hat.
Yes.
I don't have enough of them.
Hey, don't be afraid to go out there and check out Roger That Chronicles. It's our veteran show as well.
Awesome.
We are handling and promoting for wreaths across America. We're
Nice.
Tombstones of the fallen heroes, as well as Toys for Tots that we're promoting out this year for the holiday season.
Excellent.
Other than that, I appreciate you guys coming out.
Thanks
I know
for having
Tim
me.
does as well.
Absolutely. Thank you guys. Thanks for being on Around the Piano. Again, thank you for your service, Eric. That's awesome. And we're going to see you in just a couple months.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm
NAMM
sure
show.
And we'll be in touch over
I know
the
you're
next
going to be
week or
busy
two.
out there, but if you can squeeze in a quick session with us out there, that'd be kind of cool.
Oh man, I'd always love to talk to you guys. Really great. And if you can just shut me up, that would be helpful.
No,
Yeah,
trust
yeah,
me.
yeah.
I got you beat. Tim's
All
got to
right.
shut up sometimes.
Okay,
Shut
good. Same
All right,
page.
folks, that's
All
it
right,
for
man.
today. We're around
All right.
the table. We
Yes.
appreciate everybody. Enjoy
Nice
the
to meet you, Craig. Yeah,
Nice to meet you as well.
Take care,
Yeah.
guys.
great.
Enjoy the weather.